wonderful Rashmi and Janavedi. They are here finally. Good to meet them. They are single-handedly responsible for making this evening happen. I want to
Thank you and shout out to Janak and Rashmi Bedi of My Dream Foundation for having me here in New Jersey and for a lovely event. Thank you for having me, and I hope to be back really soon. Thank you.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of From a Mother to Another. And I am Sandy Banerjee, and this is where you get to hear from moms around the world. Our mom guest today is a professional artist and is here to share her story. So please join me in welcoming Manjushree to the show. Hi Manjushree.
Hello, Sandy. Thank you
How
for
are you?
having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
It's an honor that you thought of me as worthy of this, and I really appreciate you talking to me today and allowing me to share my story.
Absolutely. So let's start with a round of introduction. Tell us about yourself, a little about yourself.
Okay, as you said, my name is Manjushree Roy, and I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And currently, I'm a full-time artist. I do oil paintings, and I do portraiture and figurative work, realistic portraiture and figurative work.
Awesome. So, Manjushree, when I spoke with you, you shared an awesome story about you being an artist, your journey and everything. So, would you mind sharing that? Like, what was your inspiration of becoming an artist, right? Is it a gradual progression? Did you always know that you would be one starting from, when you were a little kid? Tell us a little about that.
It couldn't be further from the truth. I'm trained in sciences and business, and I was in the corporate world for 15 years. Even while growing up, I did do paint a little bit just because it was mandatory in school.
Right.
Once you're in 10th grade and 11th grade, then art always takes a back seat and science becomes very important.
Sure.
And I had no idea that I could paint. Um, and I was in the corporate world. I was working as a data warehouse architect. It was a pretty stressful job, pretty demanding job. And uh, I was planning to continue in the corporate world and do what everybody does, get promoted, bigger salary, bigger house, bigger car, bigger position. And then my whole world just came crashing down when I got extremely sick after I had my child. And one complication after another just kept happening. And I tried, even in those circumstances, I tried going back to the corporate world, but it just did not work out. I was driving 110 miles. My workplace was 55 miles away. I was driving 110 miles. I was doing a very demanding job. They allowed me to work from home for like 2 months, and then they decided that no, that's not something they want me to do anymore. And I was taking care of my child. She was miserable, my daughter. She was
Right.
3 at the time. So, and I was bleeding internally. I had a lot of other issues health-wise. So one fine day, I just walked up to the office and I said, "Enough's enough. You guys are not working with me on this, so I cannot continue." And that's it. And even today, my father, my husband, they cannot believe I did that, but I did it. And even then, I had a little bit of like exposure to art before that.
Mhm.
Once, very early on, I had a surgery in one of my left elbows, and during that time, I was homebound, so I watched QVC, and they were selling this uh, one-stroke painting kit by Donna Dewberry, and I'm sure a lot of people who now see me and who work with me now, they're gonna shudder at the thought, like one-stroke painting, like that's what you do on like cups and trays and all those. Like it's not at all considered serious painting, but that's how. Like I got a little bit of exposure to that, but then once I got sick, I had somebody gave me a video of an artist that I revered and I respected, and I just kept painting alongside him. It was a 6 hour long, very detailed, absolutely incredible video, and for a month and a half, I just kept painting over and over again. If I would like, I didn't know anything about painting.
Mm-hmm.
I just ordered some paints and brushes, and I just would just keep doing that. And then after that, I got another video. I did that, and then so I didn't even go to. I was not in a position to attend workshops or classes or anything. So I just kept painting alongside those master artists and their video, and then that's how I learned a little bit to paint. But then I did not know how to do my own composition. I could make a decent copy of a master painting. I'm saying decent. I'm not
Mm.
saying a great, but I absolutely did not know how to come up with your own composition, and that is a different ball game altogether. There, the concept, the vision, the idea, the harmony. It's doing everything from the scratch, and I could not do that. Like, I was in India for 2 months, and it's just like I was taking baby steps towards self recovery. I
Mm.
was doing a lot of personal self growth practices and meditation and reading a lot of self help books. And I was listening to a lot of people who were inspirational. And I was making some changes in my life and I was taking baby steps. It's something, another like big thing happened that emotionally just completely like gutted me.
Mm.
And I was in India at the time for 2 months, and I just didn't know what to do when I was there with my child, and thought I'm just gonna. I didn't even have my easels or paints or anything, so I thought I'm gonna. I had my camera. I'm gonna take some pictures and uh, see if later on I can use them for original composition. So I
Mm.
was looking here and there, and then this beautiful, absolutely incredible. That's her in the background, by the way.
Oh, wow.
She used to work. Her name is Priyanka. She used to work in my father's home as a domestic help.
Uh-huh.
And I got after her and she said, like, Didi, please don't do this. I'm not looking pretty. I said, I don't need you to look pretty. I need you to look real. Just keep doing
Right.
what you're doing. So like wherever she would go, I would follow her with my camera. Like if she picked up a bucket, like I would take pictures. If she's like cleaning the countertop, I'd take pictures. Then of course I would ask her to like, okay, hold it right there, sit down. So I took like 600 pictures of her. And so then after 2 months in India, I came back to US and uh, my a very good friend of mine, Pat Vaughn. She is the president of the local art league where I live, the Northern Art League, and she called me and she said that Manju, we are about to have a show 3 days from now or something, and I want you to enter something because we don't have enough entries. And I said, okay, I will do it. And a realistic painting takes like solid like a week or two. And
Right.
yeah, I was like 3 days from that day, like I had to like submit something. So I this was one of the painting that I did on during those 3 days.
Oh,
And
wow.
I submitted this and another painting, and this one won the best of show. And
Oh,
that's my first like acknowledgement because it's my own original composition, and it was it, what I portrayed was Priyanka, that girl, like insecure girl who was absolutely incredible, a very hardworking girl. Like so many different stories came together through this painting. So this was a big moment for me. So this is it. You are seeing how I started, and this was in
right. Wow.
2013.
And you have such an inspiring story, right? So how your painting was an escape really for you, right? At that time, and that helped you also in the process, I'm guessing, right? In your
Yes, yes.
recovery.
I was in extreme, excruciating pain. It's one thing that you get diagnosis like, okay, you're suffering from this, and
Mm-hmm.
then you're given medication for that, and then it's managed. But I had like so much of complication that first of all, nothing was getting diagnosed properly, and secondly, whatever medication they were giving me, it would just backfire. It would just cause so much more a problem. So I was on my own. I did not have any help, and I was in pain, extreme, excruciating, 24/7 pain. And the only time I could forget my pain was when I was painting.
Mm.
Even if, like, for 5 minutes or 6 minutes, if I could forget that pain, it was a big thing for me. Because I could not sleep because of the pain. Whatever I ate, like for years, I could only eat like basic boiled rice with a little bit of yogurt, and even that would cause pain. So it didn't matter what it was, everything was causing pain. So during that time, if I could pick up the brush for 2 hours and I didn't feel the pain, it is absolutely like miraculous. It's like I don't even know how the human body works, but when you're passionate about something and you're completely immersed in it, immersed in that moment, you can actually walk away from your physical, even extreme chronic physical issues. So that
Right.
was definitely a huge lesson for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. And that's a very beautiful picture. That's awesome. Like if you're starting with that picture, I don't know, like that painting, I mean, if you that was your first, yeah, you were already talented, right? So I am sure there are a lot of challenges. Obviously, the most important, I guess, the major would be the physical challenge, right, in the process. But what were the other challenges? Because I understand when you started, you had a little baby too, right? So, what were the challenges in this path?
It like when you have a newborn, things are difficult as it is. And then if you do not, like, I did not have anybody else, like any mother, father, anybody else just taking care. So that adds another level of complexity.
Sure.
And then the third layer of complexity is that you cannot even stand without pain and like a lot of health issues. So no, I did not. During those years, like initial, like the first few years, my daughter was born in 2005, and up until like 2008, I did not uh, know that I could paint. I did not try to paint. But 2008 was when I quit my job.
Okay.
And the first thing I did is I quit my job. And the second thing I did is I got my daughter out of the daycare and I made the decision that I'm not going to put her into preschool. We are going to stay at home because she was also suffering. She was also tremendously suffering.
Oh,
She could, and I do not even know, like human beings, especially a mother and a child, they're connected at so many different levels.
sure.
Every day in the daycare, they would give me those, like the status report of how her day went. So
Mm-hmm.
they used to go very good, like, but she did not, like, Simone did not eat breakfast. Simone is my daughter. They would say, Simone did not eat breakfast. Simone did not eat lunch. Simone did not eat supper. Like, it was just like, and she was the first one to get dropped off because I was driving so far, and she
Right.
was the last one to get picked up.
Oh,
So during those years, I did not venture into anything. I was just going by the minimum. But once I quit my job, and she was by that time 3 years old, I decided we're going to be at home. So all day long, we used to just do nothing. We would just, like, I would just look at the video and paint and nothing else. And she would play with her toys and watch her videos. And I had absolutely no guilt about like how much of Dora the Explorer she's watching. I was completely fine with that. And I had that acceptance that somewhere we have worked, we all, especially immigrants, we work very, very hard and we have very high standards. And it's like if you come to this country, you cannot so-called waste this time just sitting around doing nothing in bed, just watching art videos and watching Dora the Explorer. But that's what we did. For years, she watched her TV and played with her toys, and I did not worry about it. Is she learning her ABCs? Is she learning her one, two, threes? I did not worry about that. And all I did was do again, like whatever I could do in the kitchen, I would do that. And I would paint, and then the house got barely cleaned. Like it would get like the minimum basic cleaning treatment, but I was fine with that. I came to terms with a lot of things. Like I had tremendous amount of acceptance by that time. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
house is gonna go and It's not going to look like the next door, like my neighbor's house, and it's not going to be pretty. And yeah, dishes are going to get piled up. But I had to accept that I'm not there. So there is not much I can do. And
Mm,
if painting is helping me forget my pain, I will paint rather than do the dishes. And if it means that my daughter is happily sitting next to me eating her lunch in bed, that's fine. So I just accepted everything. And I think that was a turning point, my acceptance that yes, you
mm.
have to let go of things and just let it be.
And that's a very important thing, right? That's a very important message for our viewers too. Like as a mom, you have so many girls, right? And you just pick what is important for you, right? The house is clean, who cares? I mean, I don't know, I don't. But yeah, you pick what is important for you at that moment. Spending time with your daughter,
Yeah.
keeping her at home, making your me time was important. And that's what you did, right?
Yes.
And at
Yes.
the end, you both are happy, and that's what matters. And
Yes.
I think that's a very important message for every mother because moms are always put into guilt, right? We do that to ourselves, right?
Yeah. And it's amazing that my child, absolutely detested going to daycare, but we were at home for the next few years. And then when it was time for her to go to kindergarten, she just flourished. Like she just, like her ABCs, one, two, threes, like she did it in like few hours. I don't know, maybe it was the Dora or whatever, but I've never ever had to sit down with her and teach her anything. And then one day she decided that she's going to appear for the gifted kids test. And I was like, listen, I'm not so sure. I don't want any extra headache. And she went behind my back, got in touch with the counselor, got a big stack of paperwork, brought it home, and told me that she already spoke to her, and she was in fourth grade by that time. So I I cannot emphasize this, that how useless it is to push a child or push yourself when the time is right.
Mhm.
It just happens. So there is absolutely no reason to stress. On the contrary, it could actually hurt you physically, emotionally. It can hurt your relationships. It can take away from the beauty of that moment that you could have shared,
Mhm.
rather than there's like a mother and child, like, they don't get much time together. There will be
Right.
time like you could share, but if you keep pushing like, oh no, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to be like the first and ABCs and all that, it just takes away from the precious time. So it's absolutely useless. And I do not ever want to go back to, like, I for a little while I was that mother where I became very serious,
Uh-huh.
but then when I gave up, it was actually so much better. So I believe in that.
That's
Let the kids spread their wings. When they're ready, they will fly.
right. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a great advice. So after you kicked off, your first show,
Original.
or yes, exhibition, right? And then your career was in a role, right? So talk a little about your journey. Maybe what shows you did, some awards, recognitions, and stuff like that.
I I don't want to say that my career is on a roll, because I was very, very
You were being modest.
thank you so much. But I I always followed the policy of that I'm not gonna go pushing. I'm not gonna keep pushing at anything. When the time is right, it will happen. So yeah, I for many years, and of course I was still healing. I'm still healing. I'm still not 100%. So for many years, I remained in a very conservative space. That okay, I participate in. I was the member of the Northern Art League. I started teaching there,
Hmm.
and I also I think I won eight or nine awards, four best of shows, one judges award, couple of first and second places. So I was happy there. I knew that one day I would like to go to like a higher level, like deeper, further. So now I have started doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a member of the Pittsburgh Society of Artists. I participate in the juried show. I have gotten through some other juried shows, Westmoreland Art Nationals. In fact, Westmoreland Art Nationals juried show. This was also one of the paintings that
Oh.
they accepted, and it got the People's Choice Award.
Mm.
And I have participated. I've exhibited there like 5 or 6 times. I also there's this Dollar Bank Three Rivers Art Festival's very prestigious juried visual art exhibition. I have exhibited through them, and also through Pittsburgh Society of Artists. I have exhibited through them. And currently, my show, I'm having a show at Christine Fisher's gallery in Pittsburgh. So I
Okay.
have 19 pieces there, and that's the reason that I didn't have too many paintings at home. So right now, like I have like 2 or 3 paintings, but 19 pieces are there currently in exhibit in the Christine Fisher's gallery. So that's how
So till when is the show going on? So
the, sh-
if yeah.
the show was a 7 week long show,
Oh
and
wow.
it ends on Friday, which is this this like
Tomorrow.
just 2 days away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 days from now. Okay. So yeah, if you guys are in Pittsburgh, you should visit that. We still have 2 days,
Yes, you
right?
do.
Yeah. Awesome. And you also teach classes for adults and kids, right? Tell us a little about that. How long have you been teaching? And do you have summer classes? What kind of formats do you use right now, especially everything being virtual,
Yes.
people want to know more about these kind of classes.
Like even the how I started teaching is also an interesting story. Like
Yeah.
there was this girl who was going through some tremendous amount of depression, and I, for one, I know what it feels to be in like very deep depression. And she was going through tremendous amount of depression. She was a very young girl. She was at the time, I think, 19,
Oh
and
wow.
um,
That young, huh?
she was extremely good in drawing, but it was very difficult for anybody to get her out of her room. For 2 years, she had not stepped outside of her room.
Wow.
Somebody told me, somebody who's related to her, they asked me, like, she loves to paint portraits and loves to draw portrait.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know of anybody else who does that around here. So could
Mm-hmm.
you talk to her? Maybe she will like do something with you. So I spoke to her and I told her that there is 30 minutes from away in Greensburg, there is a class, and it is um, once a month class where they have live models who pose and you draw their portraits. So I asked her, like, would you like to come and we can just go together, we can talk, hang out, and we can draw. So initially she was skeptical, and then later on she said, yes, I want to. And then I'm thinking that why go drive 30 minutes once a month for this? I'm just going to start my own class and I'm just going to make her my assistant. So, and it's going to be a weekly class. And let's see how she does because she has not stepped out of the house for like 2 years. She just like, it was like, she loved it. She started coming out of the house. Even now, her parents tell me that uh, you have helped her so much. So she started coming. Like she became so good so fast, and she started managing like whatever responsibility I started giving her as in terms of managing the class. She
Uh-huh.
started doing that, and she also used to draw in the class. So it was just wonderful. So that's how I actually started teaching. It wasn't even like I wanted to teach. I just wanted to simplify her life and my life and see like if we can do something. And then I started getting a lot of students. I had done some workshops before.
Okay.
They were very good. They were painting workshops. So then I started having a regular class. And then, of course, now everything has moved online. And this Sunday was my first online class. And I had 12 students, 10 from US, from some students from Massachusetts, some students from North Carolina, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, one student from France, one student
Oh,
from India. So this was my first truly international class as a
right.
kid.
Global class.
Yeah, and I absolutely loved it. I love teaching. It's the best way to learn, and it's the best way to share everything that you know with the world. Um, you need a certain amount of honesty when you teach. You cannot be a teacher if you are not a very honest person. Uh, you can try, but they want the students to learn anything.
Right,
So
right.
I love that connection. I love that feeling. Even like I get a post high, like after the class is over, I just remain in that space that just like it's just absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I will continue to teach, I'm sure, for a long time because it gives me tremendous amount of satisfaction.
So you
Sometimes
have
it gives me even
plans
more
for those
satisfaction than painting.
classes. So you have more plans for those classes in summer. Um,
Yes, this class is going to be ongoing class. So it
oh,
builds up. Yeah, it's not that I'm like there's so when it comes to realistic portraits and especially in oil, there's so much to teach. I could very easily continue this class for the next 3 years,
oh,
and I'll have something new to teach every week. But I am planning, if I get more students, I'm planning on adding more classes, adding more sessions. And
okay.
I'm also thinking of teaching kids because I get a lot of requests from kids,
Right.
or especially parents. And there's certain amount of coordination they need. So it cannot be too young. They cannot be too young. But
Mm,
around, like thinking of giving it a shot. And
sure.
oil paints are not something that a kid should be using. So
Mm,
other thing that is very similar to oil is charcoal.
okay.
Charcoal work is actually it works in a very similar way as oils. So
Oh,
I'm thinking of starting a charcoal class with kids, and I'm sure as they grow old, then we can transition into oil. So yes, those are my plans.
that is so great. I loved your story about, how you started teaching. I mean, you did just, that girl, a big, huge favor, saved her life
I'm
almost.
not sure if she did the favor to me or I did the favor to her because I did not even know.
Mutual.
Like I did not know I could paint. I did not know I could teach. So it just became a truly satisfying experience for me.
Right. Yeah, that's great. So tell us about your involvement in the Indie Art 2020. Tell us a little about the program and how you are involved and how, our viewers can contribute.
Yes. So Ekal Vidyalaya, that's a non-profit organization. They provide they provide basic education to kids in rural India. And they are a global organization. So they partnered up with another organization based in India called Khula Asman. And Khula Asman, they provide arts and crafts education and opportunities for self-expression. So Ekal Vidyalaya and Khula Asman, they partnered up and now they have started this effort called Indie Art 2020, where a kid registers for only $5 in this art competition, and they said the kids send in their artwork, and in return they get access to 20 to 25 1 hour long videos from the various art ambassadors. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of the art ambassadors. So these 1 hour workshops, they are absolutely amazing. If you want to learn about or get some exposure into traditional art forms of India like Varli art and Madhubani painting, we have a workshop for that. We have a workshop of coffee painting, calligraphy. I will be teaching the basics of realism, realistic portrait, um, realistic still life, um, rural, like basic, like folk art, kind of other kind of like Rajasthani women painting. Like you name it, you got it. And it's just absolutely win-win situation. The kids anywhere in US can participate for just $5 and they get 20 to 25 workshop. And that $5, all the proceeds go towards getting a tablet for a kid in rural India. So it's just like absolutely incredible from every angle. it's only $5. You cannot get even one workshop for five, and you're getting 25 workshop, 25 hours, and all that proceed is going towards another kid, so they get to understand. Before every workshop they talk about that, so the kids get a little bit of feeling on what it is like. They read
Wow.
letters from the actual kids, like how, like recently I was watching one of the workshops, and they were reading this letter, and that kid is 18 or 19 years old, and he has no left hand, and he has only two fingers in the right hand, and he had written that letter, and he was talking about how Ekal Vidyalaya helped him, and now he is very good with computers. He knows how to operate a computer. His handwriting is also good, and it just gives you goosebumps, and like tears were flowing, and it's just incredible, like how kids can learn so much through this one initiative. So I would appreciate if you can spread this word. I would like anybody who's watching that, go to the Indie Art Ekal Vidyalaya Indie Art 2020 website and register, because you are not gonna regret this. You will get so much more in terms of learning, in terms of satisfaction, in terms of understanding, compassion. It's just an amazing cause.
Yeah, and you're going to make a difference in somebody's life. It's for a great cause. Yeah, right.
And I always say that I'm not even sure who's making a difference, because we get back so much that
Right.
it's just like worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Manjushree, before I let you go, I have one more question for you. Tell us, what are your tips for moms who want to, like, pursue their passion or their interest? Like you have fought so much, and, you have become successful in your own way. And so, any tips that you can share for our audience would be very helpful.
The biggest lesson that I learned is the biggest advice I can give, that you cannot wait for your situation to become perfect. You cannot wait to get support from the family. You cannot wait for your financial situation to be in a certain place. You cannot wait for your health or emotional situation to be in one like certain place. If you have passion about something, and if you do not work on it, even a little bit, I'm not saying you have to just quit everything like I did. No, you don't. Even if you work on it a little bit, for example, if you're a writer, you write a couple of times a week. If you're an artist, you pick out the paints and brush and paint a couple of times a week. You have to do that, because if you do not follow your passion, it's gonna keep you from feeling life. It's gonna make you incomplete. And all the things that you're waiting for, your health to become better, if you actually followed your passion, your health will become better. If you're like waiting for your relationships to get better, if you follow your passion, your relationships will get better, because you as a human being get better. When you follow your passion, you become a different person. And if you continue to put things on the back burner, that one fine day when things get perfect, I will do that, it's not going to happen. And you're going to remain cranky. From personal experience, I can tell you that. So just start working on it today. Just start working on it. Don't keep it on the back burner anymore. And all of us have something that we have kept on the back burner.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And that's a great advice, Manjushree. Thank you so much for sharing your story. After listening to all your stories, it actually reminds me why I started this show in the first place. Like every time I am done with the show, I'm like, I am in awe about all these women who have done so much. You guys have crossed any kind of barriers and have been successful. So I can't even say how excited I am to actually host this kind of shows. Thank you so much.
And thank you to you, because people like us, we keep our stories to ourselves. But then someone like you and comes and asks very specific question, then we cannot run away. And so then we have to share it with the world. So I'm really grateful to you for doing this, giving us the opportunity to share our stories. So thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you. Have a good night.
You
Bye
too.
bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.